Hello, so this video is going to be for those members who are trying to figure out how to download, install, and also use MT4 platform. There is MT5 version as well. It is exactly the same for the most part. So if you are somebody who is going to upgrade to MT5, please feel free to watch this video and still follow the same steps. However, MT4 is the most commonly used platform when it comes to placing trades through your broker. There is the opportunity to trade through TradingView directly, depending on your broker. And if you have a broker that is supported through TradingView, you are one of the lucky ones and you can trade directly through TradingView. However, many of us are stuck trading with MT4, meaning we will do our markups and analysis on TradingView. Then we will go to MT4 to actually place the trade with our broker. Many brokers are still using MT4 to execute their trade. Execute their trades. So if you are one of these people who need to download MT4 and you are new to this and looking at just a general idea of how to use MT4, this video will be helpful for you. So I have here KOT4X. This is a broker that I personally do use. You will just go to your personal broker's website and what you will do is look for their download. So you can see here on KOT4X website, they have download MT4 and then they have for Windows, whatever you guys are downloading it for. So you would pick your version. I have Windows, so I'm going to click it and we are downloading now. So once that downloads, we'll open it. Then we're going to agree to all the stuff and let it install. Just a quick side note, MT4 thinks they're real slick and they try to divert you to their storefront first. So you may have to sign up through them. If you might have to go through that step, but don't get lost in the storefront side of it. It's just kind of their way of diverting you guys. So if you just stay on track here and follow what I'm doing, you should avoid getting lost in the store area. Okay, so it has downloaded now. And basically this will pop up for you where it has open an account. You can pick which type of account you want. So there's demo, there's lives. Because I'm doing this for demonstration purposes, I'm just going to show you guys with a demo account. So we'll click next. And then if you have an existing account, you would click here. So if you already have an account somewhere else and somehow you signed up for one, you would click here, add in your credentials. If you want a new demo one, you would click here, and this would be a new real account, meaning you want a live account. So then you're going to come to this page and basically you'll fill in your information. Make sure you fill in your own, do not copy mine. Once you have all of that filled in, you can then come to your deposit amount and you can pick whatever size account you would want to pick to use. Remember that if you're doing this on a live account, that you're going to pick the amount that you're actually going to deposit. If you're doing this on a demo account, please pick an amount that mimics something similar to what you actually expect to trade. Don't go picking a $500,000 account if in reality you're going to be trading only with $1,000. You want to make sure that you're treating your demo account as realistic to a live account as possible. So that way you get a feel for the trade management on that size account. I typically trade with 100K account, somewhere between 100K to 200K. So we're just going to pick that. The leverage you can change if you want. 1 to 500 is what comes with this broker. Depending on your broker, this may be different numbers. 1 to 500 is pretty high. Most people really shouldn't be trading with that much leverage, or shouldn't need it at least if you're trading safely. Typically, I would say somewhere 1 to 100. If you are somebody who is trading with prop firms or looking to trade with prop firms, most of them allow 1 to 100. If you're somebody who's looking to do that, you may want to make sure that you select the 1 to 100 instead of 1 to 500. Okay, so now it creates your login credentials for you. This is the demo account. This is your login password if you are going to be trying to get in on it on your phone as well, because you can download MT4 app on your phone and you would just use the same login credentials. So that way, if you're placing trades on your computer maybe during the morning or whenever, and you want to go about your day still but be able to check your trades, you can still do that through the app on your phone. So you would want to keep this login information somewhere safe. So now you're logged in, your account is set up. This is a standard screen you'll see where they put up 4 charts at a time. Most people don't actually keep up 4 at a time, but if you want to, you can. If not, you can close them out and just make one big one. The other thing that you will find is that it kind of like gets loaded with these preset indicators like the CCI. You know, you could leave it be if you want, but I personally don't care for them. So if you right click on the screen, go to properties, then come in here, you can get rid of a couple of your things. I don't really care to have the grids. They kind of bother me, to be quite honest, so I do get rid of them, and that will fix that for me. To get the indicator off of here, what you'll do is right click on indicators list, and then this commodities channel index, you can click that, just click delete. And then that will get rid of that off your screen. Now you just have a nice clean screen. I personally just like it like this when I'm placing my trades on MT4. I find that if I try to make my chart busier, what I will do is talk myself out of trades. And I've already committed to the idea that I want to take that trade on TradingView. So I try not to get too caught up in like the comparing of the two. If I've committed on TradingView, then I execute the trade on MT4. That's just a little tip for you guys, like what I personally do. I try to keep this actual MT4 chart as simple and clean as possible, so I'm not tempted to get distracted or potentially like change my mind. So this part is very important. They like to be sneaky, the brokers, and leave out what we call an ask line. So there is the price line that you will see during the market moving, and then there is an ask line. The ask line is important because that's what the broker is asking for. That's the price the broker is going to open and close your trade at versus what the market is actually trading at. So that's where you get this thing called a spread. So that would be the difference between what the asking price is for your broker and what the actual market price is. So you want to make sure you put that line on, and a lot of times they will leave it off. So if you right click here, click on properties again, and if you come into your settings, you'll see that they are very clever and they do not automatically put on the show ask line. So you have to come in and click on the show ask line. Add that on, and then that will add it onto the chart for you. So here's an example of what the ask line means. I do apologize. At the time that I am recording this, it is actually Saturday, so the regular market is closed, so it's kind of hard to show you guys this, but I am going to show it to you on a Bitcoin pair since Bitcoin is always trading no matter what. So as you can see here, the price here is this price at 40117. That's what the actual price is of Bitcoin at this moment. But the broker's price is saying that it's 40180. So that is the ask price. So this difference in this line and here at this level, that is your spread that you would have to cover, meaning the market would need to move beyond that. Say you were buying, the market would need to come from this level and pass that point. If you bought in at that level where it was, you would need to cover that distance before you would see profit. Be careful and mindful of your spreads, but I want you guys to remember to put your ask price on, because you may find a trade that you think looks fantastic, but then you come into MT4 and you realize the spread is way too big and you do not want to have to take that trade because it wouldn't make sense anymore. So make sure you put the ask line on. Okay, so now that you're into your platform and you've kind of cleaned up your chart a little bit, you put the ask line on, you have a couple of different things that we can go through. There is at the top here just very basic things like your files. You can kind of go through all of that. The most important thing that you would need to get started on here is just the open the accounts or the login accounts, which we already did in the beginning. But if you download it and miss it and you don't know how to get back to logging into an account, or you want to start a new demo account, you would either hit on open an account, restart over, or you could hit into a log into a trade account and you would log in to your login password, and then pick your server. Then you have your view, which is like viewing, toolbar, status bars, all of this stuff, symbols, market watch, all of this stuff. You guys can kind of play around with all of these things a little bit. This is your indicators. If you wanted to add actual indicators onto your charts, like you want to add on ATR, you could just click on that and then it adds it on. But like I said, I don't typically add them on, but you guys can absolutely use the indicators and go ahead and play around with them and see if that helps you better or not. There is the ability to use the free indicators built into MT4 as well. And then there's like lines if you want to draw and do markups, channels. The same stuff that you have on TradingView is on here. Most people like TradingView. It is a little bit more sophisticated. MT4 is a little more old school, but all the same things are still available on here. So that's under insert, and you would find all the different tools that you would want to add on. There's different things you can do with charts. You can change your candlesticks and time frames if you want to do something different, but your time frames are also built in up here as well. So you can go through your different time frames and see what they're doing. But if for some reason you want a different time frame, you could do it here too. You can save templates, meaning like if you put a bunch of indicators on or whatever you like on your screen, and you can save it. So that way, if you want to make changes, again, you don't have to go back and constantly be changing it. You can just pull up your saved template. And then you guys can see Windows, Tools, Help. So all this stuff is all here. So that's kind of the basic stuff at the top. As far as things go down here, you can kind of play around once you get in here, and I highly suggest you do download a demo and just kind of play around. But new chart would mean it would clear the chart for you, and you could pick whatever you would want. You don't really need too many of these symbols all that much. Zooming in, zooming out, like sometimes you'll use them, but for the most part, they're kind of just reiterating what could have been found up in here. Auto trading is something that you should only be clicking on if you have a risk management calculator on. That is considered like an EA calculator, and that is going to like auto calculate for you based on the market, or if you have like an EA bot that is trading for you. Otherwise, if you are a manual trader and you want to manually execute your trades, meaning you want to be able to enter when you want and exit when you want, make sure you don't click on that, just to avoid any issues. And then down here, again, lines and things like that, just kind of reiterating what was able to be found up here, and your time frames as well. And this is Market Watch here. This Market Watch is where you can find your pairs. So it will set you with very basic Forex pairs to begin with. If you want to see more, what you will do is you will right click here in the box. You will then hit on symbols, and you can see all the different symbols that they allow. So you can get all of your Forex pairs here, Forex crosses, like you guys can add on whatever it is you want. Indexes are here. You'll just click on what you want, click on show and close, and now it is on your list down here. The DAX has now been added. So you can do that as well to be able to get it onto the chart. So say you, right now we're looking at Bitcoin up here, but say you want to look at the DAX, you just grab it, drop it, and it will load it for you. So now the DAX is up here. So that's what is on your screen. Say you want to look at USD instead, drag it, drop it, and you can now look at USD JPY. That's the very basics of dragging and dropping them, but please make sure that you always double check before you place an actual trade that you are on the proper chart for the trade you want to place, because if you are on the wrong chart, it's going to take that trade for a different pair. So make sure that you're always double checking up here that the actual pair you want to trade is on the chart that you're about to enter that trade into. So make sure you're being careful with that. It can get overwhelming if you end up having a lot of charts open. I suggest only having one at a time while you're learning and just pulling them over. So like I showed, drag and drop and say, okay, this is the one I want to trade. That way you limit yourself from making any mistakes. For now, we'll look at BTC because that's actually opening and moving. So I can show this to you. If you come down to here on the bottom, this is your terminal area. This is where your trade, hit on the trade button. This will show you your account balance, your equity, and your free margin. Exposure is another thing. You don't really need to be in there, but you can. Account history, once we take a trade, all of our trades will be listed under there. There's news, alerts that you can set. Mailbox is where you get mail sent to you. through them. Market is a marketplace where you can come in and you can like search for different things you can buy. If you come up here, you can type in like whatever it is you want to search for, and then it'll search all of the different libraries for you. So there's expert advisors, indicators, libraries, utilities, favorites, and downloads. So you guys can also like peek in there and see what they have as well. And then just all the other stuff that they kind of offer down here at the bottom. For the most part though, you'll be hanging out here in the trade section. What I want to show you is the navigator bar, which is up here. So you can see you're in your KOT Forex account. And then right now we only have one account open, but if you have multiple accounts, you can add them in here and then you would be able to toggle through your different accounts. You might have KOT Forex on here, then you might have like another broker that you have, and then maybe another account, maybe a funded account. Like they would all be listed here, so you could just click through them and it would bring them up. You wouldn't have to have like 5 or 6 different MT4s on your desktop. You could manage them all through one MT4. You just need to have the logins from those particular brokers. The indicators list, like I said, all under here as well. So if you want to get to them that way. Expert advisors again, these are preloaded that they put on there. You will find under expert advisors will be the trading floors risk calculator that you guys get. If you download it, that's where yours will be. And otherwise, that is the basics of this. So you've seen now the basics of installing it, how to log in, and how to set up the basics of the account, and just like quick overview of navigating through these buttons and what everything does. You guys should though play around with it a little bit more, make sure you're comfortable with it before ever starting to live trade. But the purpose of using this is to actually place trades. So I'm going to show you guys how you would place a trade. There are a couple of ways you can go ahead and place a trade. What you'll see at the top here is something called one-click trading. You'll see a sell button and a buy button. And in the middle here, you can see your lot sizes, which you can adjust to whatever your lot size you want to trade with would be. I'm just putting in a random number right now. So once you guys calculate your proper risk management and you have the lot size you would want, you would place that there. And then you would either click on sell or buy at the time that you're ready to place the trade. I'm just doing a hypothetical situation here so that way you guys can see it. So we're just going to place a buy. This will pop up. You guys have to agree. That's only one time in the very first time that you open an account. So click buy again. So we have placed our trade now, which you guys can see down here at the bottom. This is our trade that is running here in our trading terminal. You guys will see you have an order number. You have the time that the trade was placed. The time is according to your broker's time, wherever they are located at. So that is something you guys will have to figure out because the times are not going to match up with your specific time zone. So make sure you figure that out if you are somebody who wants to go back and look at time. You'll have the type of trade you placed, whether it was a buy or a sell. You have the lot size, and then the symbol, which is the pair that you are trading, and the price that you entered in for. So this is that ask price, like I was saying. This is the price that you got in according to your broker. This is your stop loss if you placed one, a take profit if you placed one, and then the price that it is. This one will constantly be moving. As you guys can see, it's moving along with the way that price is actually moving now. Then there is commission, depending on if your broker charges a commission or not. And then your actual profit will be over here. Then swap fees. If you have a swap fee, that is usually because you held from one session to another session. So hypothetically, if New York session has closed and you want to continue to hold a trade into Asian, you will have to pay a swap fee. You will also have swap fees if you hold through weekends and leave trades open over the weekends. So that's what you'll see here if you decide to hold. Those fees will be here. And every broker is different, so you guys will have to look in those details yourselves to find out what they are. But that is something that you will see there. And then you'll see your profit. That would be over here on this side. This is what that specific trade is at, but then this would be your total after fees. So that is how you would look at your trade. Now, if you wanted to just manually trade and click buy or sell and then come in and edit it to be able to add in a stop loss and take profit, what you will do is highlight your trade that you want to edit, right click it, then you're going to hit on modify or delete order. When you come up to the modified delete order area, you'll see there's a bunch of different things in here. You have to figure out which type you want to do. So you want to market execution, pending order, or modify order. We're currently already in this trade, so we would modify this order. Then we're going to basically just pick what we want to do. We want to put a stop loss in or take profit. So if you're somebody who wants to manually sit there and execute and then go in quickly and add in a stop loss and take profit, then you could do that here. So I'll show you guys what we will do. We'll just add a quick stop loss in. Or just hypotheticals here. And then we'll make a take profit. We'll say 403.02. So those are our numbers. So we're saying our stop loss, I picked right around here for this number. And I said my take profit, which I said right up here. And then what you'll hit is modify. When you hear the like noise, that means it has been executed and your broker's accepted the changes. So you'll see now our stop loss price is added in and our take profit is added in. When you come onto your screen, what you'll see is if you hover over that area of your actual stop loss, you'll get a little alert that pops up that tells you how much you will lose if this trade hits your stop loss. So in this case, if it hits our stop loss there, we will lose $5.62. However, if it hits our take profit, which was up here, same thing, hover over it, you will gain $5.73. So that is the risk management for this trade here. And that is how you could do it. You can also adjust them. Say that you accidentally put in the wrong number and you want to just drag and drop it. You can drag and drop your stop losses. So as I'm moving it along, it will change, which you guys can see in the terminal. The numbers are changing. If we hover over again, you'll see that we would now lose $9.38. Same thing with your take profit. You can pull it up along the way. Hypothetically, if you were doing well in this trade and you wanted to say the market was way up here somewhere and you wanted to trail along, you could also just drag your take profit along behind the market and you could hover over to see how much it is that you're securing. So that is how you would do it if you wanted to manually place trades this way. So I closed out that trade so you guys can see. I want to show you another way that you can do it. So sometimes some of you actually may not see one-click trading up here, but if you want to add it on your charts, you just right-click into your screen, click on one-click trading. It'll take it away if you don't like it, or if you want it on, just click on it again and it'll come back. The other way that you can place trades is if you right-click here. You can click on trading, hover over it, and then you have sell limits, buy limits. This means that like when the market gets to that price, it will execute the trade for you. So until it gets to that price point, it will not execute the trade. So this is something some people like when they are waiting for it to break out of a certain area or a certain price point. So this could be an option as well. Let's hypothetically say we want to buy. So we'll execute the trade, and until it gets up to this point, it will not take this trade, but you will see it's pending down here. So it's placed and it's waiting to do something, but it has not actually been opened yet. That's why profit is not moving at all over here. It's waiting. So until the market gets to this price point, it will not actually open that order. You can modify this. So same thing, you could come and highlight it and right click and modify, and you could change things if you wanted to. So you could change how you want it, what price you wanted it to be executed at, what date does it expire on, like so how long do you want this to be considered a possible trade for. Stop loss and take profit you can put in there for it so it would be all set to go and you wouldn't have to worry about coming back to manage the trade. So this is something you can do where you're like trying to set a trade in advance and have everything there for it ready to be triggered when it hits a certain price. You can also move this around as well, like the other one, if you want to change where you want the price to be for it to execute that trade. So it works like that for a buy stop and a sell limit. Both of them, same idea, that's a sell limit. So those are a couple of ways that you will get placing the trade on MT4. So lastly, what I would like to show you guys before I wrap up this video is actually the pairs over here on the side, which you can edit and change these all around to however you want. You can move them, like maybe you want Bitcoin at the top and USD at the bottom. You just click on them and drag them to wherever you would want them to be. But also, when you're looking for specific details about that pair and what are your broker's details for that pair, what you'll do is highlight the pair that you're interested in knowing about. So we'll look at Bitcoin, and you'll right click it, then hit on specifications. Once you click on specifications, a window will pop up like this, and you'll see all of these details here that give you the specifics for your broker and that pair. So a big thing that we see a lot of the time is contract size. A lot of people don't know that this will vary depending on the instrument that you're trading. And brokers may have a couple of different contract sizes depending on what you're trading. So in this case, you can see we have a contract size of 1 for Bitcoin. But if we look at DAX, the German 30, it will be a different contract size. That's 100. So this is important to know when you're going to do your risk management. When you're putting in your details into your risk management calculator, you want to know what is the contract size and how does that affect the lot size. The Forex pairs will have all of the same contract size. So you can see for theirs is 100,000. So this is something you do want to be aware of. Just because it's a CFD or maybe it's a Forex pair or whatever, it may have a different contract size for your brokers, and every broker will be different. So you guys should come in, find the pairs that you are planning on trading, add them into your market watch box, and just run through the contract sizes quickly so you know what contract size you're trading with, so that way there's no surprises when you go and enter in your lot sizes. And my last tip is to please make sure that you're paying attention to what chart is up. So make sure you have the right chart pulled over at the time that you're entering into a trade, and make sure that you're always double checking your lot sizes, because like I just said, that contract size will make a difference depending on your pairs that you're trading. And the worst thing you can do is place the wrong size lot on the wrong type of pair, because that can do some really big damage to an account if it goes wrong. So please make sure you guys are always double checking yourselves. You don't need to rush through placing your trades. If you're newer, I highly suggest trading on a little bit of a higher time frame, like a 15-minute or higher, so you don't feel panicked or rushed to place these trades. Make sure you're taking the time to double check everything. In order to close your trades out quickly, if you do make a mistake and you're panicking and you don't know what to do, you over here on the side, you just click the X. So if you want to close it out before it hits your take profit or your stop loss, you just close that X and it'll close the trade out for you. To see the history, you'll come to account history, and now that we've taken a few trades and placed them, you can see all the different things that we just did on the account. So that is where you will see the history of everything on your account if you need it for any reason. This is a very basic overview of MetaTrader 4 and 5, but like I had already said, please go in and play with it, play around on demo, get used to it, get comfortable placing trades. And if you guys have any questions, please feel free to reach out in the Discord.
What is up, everybody? So I'm going to be going over the execution of trades, and what I mean by that is after you've done your analysis, you're ready to mark up your stop loss and take profit in TradingView, and then you're going to transition over to MetaTrader, whether it's 4 or 5, and you're going to place your order. And so we've been getting a lot of questions about how do we go about trading from TradingView to MetaTrader, because the prices don't always line up, especially for indices and prop firms. Usually it can vary between like 6 to 10 points between the chart broker on TradingView to the broker on your prop firm. And so I'm going to go over that really quick. And as you can see, I have AU up. So we're going to look at Forex pairs. And what you'll notice with Forex pairs, as I minimize this, I created a FTMO free trial so that way we could see the difference between the prices very easily, and I could just kind of go over that. So let me put EA up in the background as well. And we're going to open up TradingView again. Let's close this. So as you can see, obviously in Forex, the 4th decimal point is the pip. And so it's 71.6. And right here it's 71.6 as well. So for AU, at the very least, AU doesn't run all that fast. It is basically the same. So when you put your stop loss in TradingView for at least AU, you could do the same exact thing for MetaTrader, but I do not recommend that, and I'll go over it soon. And so if we go over to probably one of the most volatile pairs in Forex, GN. So we're in that in TradingView. Let's do that in MT4 very quickly. So pulling them both up, as you can see, GN is at 19936 and it's at 199331. So it does vary a little bit for GN, about 2 pips or so, but whenever it gets more volatile, especially for news and stuff, it could gap between the two prices. So I'm going to go over the most extreme case that you'll see and then show y'all how I go about this. So very quickly, we're going to go over to NAS. I'll pull up NAS on MetaTrader and TradingView. And as you can see, to compare the prices very quickly, you're at 11663 or 11664. It's going to be going very fast. I'm on the 1 minute for both, but you're 662 right now and you're 669. So you're within like 6 to 8 points, which could affect your stop loss. You could literally be looking at a stop loss here. And since price on TradingView is 7 points lower than MetaTrader, when you go to put your stop loss, you're going to have a way bigger stop loss than you intend to on MetaTrader compared to TradingView. So the way I go about this is simple. And so let's use NAS as an example because it is the most extreme case. Let's just say price closed on this candle right here, and we're going to place our stop loss below basically these two candles. So as you see, we look left, you had a big candle here and here, but we're looking to go at the lowest point. And so I marked that point and it's at 11652, but that's not going to be the same case in MetaTrader. And so with our handy dandy TTF risk calculator, I'm going to go over kind of an example of how I go about this. And so I'm going to do a pending order, that way you could see where the entry is, because price is continuously moving. And so on this last candle, so this candle here, so I'll do a buy pending, and going over to TradingView, as you can see, I want to place my stop loss under here. And so I'll go to MetaTrader and I would just put my stop loss right there. I am not looking at the stop loss number, and in this case it just so happens to be around 11, but that won't always be the case. And so what I do is, instead of looking at the specific number, as you can see down here, what I'll do is I'll look left and see where the stop loss intersects, and it basically intersects right under this big bullish candle. So in MetaTrader, I'll come here and I'll find that big bullish candle right here, and I'll put my stop loss right under that and go about that way. And so from there, after you hit buy, you can hit send order, but this is a pending order, so it won't go through. But just for the sake of things, and just to show off the TTF risk calculator as well, so I'll get rid of it and start over. So if you hit buy, it'll bring up a red line for your stop loss and a blue line for your take profit. If you want to change your take profit to like a 1.5 or a 2, you come up to ratio, you hit 1.5, or you can make it a 3, and it'll be a 3 take profit wherever you put your stop loss, which is really cool. And your stop loss line will stay exactly where you want to set it. So in this case, in our example, I want to put it right here. I want to go for a buy, and then from there I hit send order, and I'm good to go. I'm in the trade here, US NAS, and I'm just gonna take it out because just as an example. And so in this case, we were able to take a buy. So if we go back to AU, and we'll go on to our charts, and we'll do some super duper quick analysis. And so in this case, I'm like in a sell here, and I want to put my stop loss right here above this recent swing. So fair enough. So what we'll do now is we'll go into AU, as you can see here. We'll place a sell, so we'll click sell, and that doesn't place a sell right away. Let me just make that clear. It just brings up the stop loss and the take profit to navigate where you want to put your stop loss at. And so your stop loss line won't be able to move. As you can see, I'm trying to click it here. What you have to do, if you don't see the little circle here, you double click the red line, you can now see the circle and it can move. Just like we had in our analysis, we want to put it at the recent swing, so we don't care about this number. And so we come into MetaTrader, and this is our recent swing. We like that. We hit send order, and we're good to go. And you place your trade. So that is how we go about placing trades from TradingView into MetaTrader. It does not matter if price varies. The numbers don't matter at all. the candles bodies are the same exact length. It's just that the numbers slightly differ. It's the same exact quantity. So I just want to make that clear because people get kind of confused, and I can understand that as a new trader. You don't understand, you think that the price is different, like the candles are different because the price is different, but it's just the price numbers themselves are different, but the candles bodies, like the lengths, are exactly the same. So whenever you're placing buying and sells, make sure you look at where your stop loss is intersecting to and then find that in MetaTrader. It'll save y'all tons of confusion and headaches. So I hope that helps, and if y'all have any questions, feel free to drop them in Discord and one of us will be glad to help you with that. So thank you. Peace. What is up, everybody? So this is the June 24th risk calculator update, and what this update entails is a lot of major changes highly anticipated by the community and recommended by them. And also we fixed a few things. So the pending orders have been fixed. They now trigger and they're good to go. But the additions that we have added is a new trailing stop feature where you could trail your trades in pips. There's also now an MT5 version that you can add for the risk calculator and a default stop loss size input where you're able to place a specific 20 to 25 point stop loss for all the scalpers who just want that set stop loss already and not have to drag it anything. But we'll go over that later in the video. So now what I will do is show you all how to set up the risk calculator. Up, everybody? So this is the June 24th risk calculator update, and what this update entails is a lot of major changes highly anticipated by the community and recommended by them. And also we fixed a few things. So the pending orders have been fixed. They now trigger and they're good to go. But the additions that we have added is a new trailing stop feature where you could trail your trades in pips. There's also now an MT5 version that you can add for the risk calculator and a default stop loss size input where you're able to place a specific 20 to 25 point stop loss for all the scalpers who just want that set stop loss already and not have to drag it anything. But we'll go over that later in the video. So now what I will do is show you all how to set up the risk calculator on MT4 and MT5. If you already know how to do this, feel free to skip ahead, but if you are newer and you don't, please follow along, and I'm going to go over MT4 first. So for MT4, as you can see, I have both files. It will be the EX4 file This file, the MQL5 program, will be for MT5, so don't worry about that one. So if you're using MT4, worry about this TTF Risk Calculator 3 EX4 file. So once you have that downloaded, once you have found that on the website in the Get Smarter section, what you'll do now is you'll open up your Metafor Trader terminal, come up to File, hit Open Data Folder. Once you're in there, we'll go to MQL4, and then we'll go to Experts. And so bring up that file explorer that you had already, and what you'll need to do is you need to copy and paste the ex4 file into your Experts file, or simply drag and drop like I do here. And so I'll just minimize that. Once you add this ex4 file into the data folder for MetaTrader, you can X this out. And what you'll do now is you'll come to the Expert Advisors section in your Navigator tab in MetaTrader. You'll right-click Expert Advisors, hit refresh, and you should see the TTF Risk Calculator 3 pop up. So once you have it popped up, what you'll need to do now is drag and drop it in. Once you drag and drop it, this menu will prompt up, and you need to make sure you come to the Common tab. Make sure you allow live trading, allow DLL imports, allow import of external experts, and you should be good to go. There's a few settings here, and actually what I'd recommend, we'll get to this soon, but your partial TP line, I recommend changing this either to yellow, to red, just something that pops out for you, that way you're able to see it. In this example, I'm just going to change it to yellow. As you can see here, just quickly going over the settings, you have your risk, but most of these settings don't really matter because you're able to change this on your calculator on the screen when it's prompt here. The only thing that you need to change before adding this to your calculator, before clicking OK, is if you want a certain default stop loss size. But we'll go over that later. I'm just kind of worried about setting everything up. So after you've done this, click OK, and from there you should see at the top right that there's a smiley face. If there's not a smiley face, that probably means you have your auto trading turned off. So make sure you enable auto trading, and you should see a smiley face pop up there, and you should be good to go. So that is how to set it up on MT4. So setting it up on MT5, very similar to MT4, but in case you did not watch that, here is how it goes. So what we'll do now is we have our downloads folder, and we've downloaded the MQL5 program, TTF Risk Calculator. And so what we'll do here, we'll go to File, we'll go to Open Data Folder. From there, we'll go to MQL5, we'll go to Experts, and then we'll go to Advisors. And so now we'll bring back our file explorer that we have, and we'll copy and paste, or like I just simply drag and drop it in. So what we'll do now is we'll come to Expert Advisors and hit refresh, and you should see the TTF Risk Calculator here. And so we'll simply drag and drop it on, and from here you go to Common and make sure you allow algo trading. Turn that on. And like I said previously with the MT4 version, all these settings can basically be modified inside of the calculator itself. The only thing that you can't do would be this default stop loss size. So if you want a certain size, and it's in pips, but I'm going to go over that soon whenever we go over the calculator. But everything is good to go. I do recommend changing this partial TP line to something that pops out, so like yellow, for example, that way you're able to see it, or pink, or something of that nature. Just don't leave it gray. I have a gray background, so if you leave it gray, then you can't see anything. But you should be good to go there. Hit OK. There is a good chance that you need to turn on algo trading, so you have to allow it. So whenever you click it, it probably has a red square here. Whenever you click it, it'll have a green little play button there, and from there this should light up to blue. And what's cool about MT5 compared to MT4, you don't actually have to take off the calculator and put it back on. Whenever you want to access the inputs, you could simply right click this little graduation hat and go to Properties of TTF Risk Calculator and change the stuff here. But that is how you set up MT5 with our risk calculator. And what I want to go over now is on certain prop firms, especially FTMO, I just set up a random FTMO free trial. What you'll see is that sometimes the candles will be in front of the risk calculator. We've been seeing this question a lot. And so to be able to troubleshoot this, all you need to do is you right click the chart anywhere on the chart. You go to Properties, and then in the Common tab, make sure you unselect Chart on Foreground. and then hit OK. And whenever you do that, now the calculator is in front of the candles and you're good to go. So I just wanted to give an example about that because I know some of y'all have been asking why are the candles in front of the chart, and all you have to do is unselect chart on foreground. So that is how you troubleshoot that problem. So I am going to go over all the examples in MT4. It is the exact same in MT5. And so looking at the calculator, split up in 3 sections: a risk section, a trading execution section, and then also your smart button, like the smart features sections. And so in your first section, you have percent risk, cash risk, and ratio. Percent risk is the amount of percent you want to risk per trade. Simple as that. And so if you want to modify this field, you need to make sure you left click it to where you see a border around the percent risk, and then you could change this whether you want to risk 1 or 2% and hit enter. But normally I'll either risk 0.5 to 1%. And then if you want to change the cash risk, then you select cash risk, make sure the border is around it, and maybe you want to risk 600, and it'll automatically update the percent risk above there. Ratio is the take profit. So if I want to go for a 2 reward take profit every time, I'll just simply put 2 in this field, and that covers the risk section. Pretty simple. So the trading execution section is you have a big buy and sell button, you have a market button in the middle, and then a send order. So the market button in the middle lets you either execute strictly on the market, which is instantly, or you could do a pending order where you have a desired entry that you want to be filled at, whether it's a buy or a sell stop or limit, and you're able to place your entry where you want, your stop loss, and your take profit where you want. But normally I just go straight off of market execution. So in this example, I'm on NAS and I'm on the 15-minute, and let's just go for a buy. So if I want to be able to place a buy, what I will do is I'll hit this big blue buy button. And so whenever I click the buy button, what it'll do is it'll bring up a blue and a red line. In this case, these are both fixed. And the reason for that is because you don't see a little circle here. In order to move the stop loss exactly where you want it to, you'll need to double click this red line, and now you can see a little circle. When you see this circle, you can move your stop loss up and down, and as you can see, our take profit, our little blue line, is moving because we had specified in the risk section that we want a 2 reward. So it's always going to stay as a 2 reward no matter where we move our stop loss, as you can see here. So let's just say I want to place the trade here. What I'll do now is I'll simply hit send order, and from there we execute our trade on NAS, and we're good to go. Just going to exit out of there. And vice versa for a sell. If we want to place a sell, we'll click the sell button, we'll double click our stop loss line. Once we see the circle, we're able to move our stop loss wherever we want. And let's just say we want to go for a 3 reward now. We'll change it to where it says 3 reward. And what's cool is you can read the numbers. So you could see where your stop loss is in pips. You could see how much money you'll be risking. We want to risk 600, but indices is a little different with the volume and step size depending on your contract size, and we'll go over that in specific videos in the future. But you'll see how much percentage you're risking and what your lot size is probably going to be. Like it says volume in parentheses, but this is basically what your lot size is going to be per execution of the trade. In this case, we'll just put it here. So that's good enough for me. I'll send the order, and we entered here, stop loss is here, and our take profits here, and we are in the trade. And that is how you buy and sell on MT4. Same thing for MT5. What I'll do now is, for this case, I am going to just enter another buy, and I'm going to go over the last section, which is like the smart features where you have custom break-even, partial, and trailing stop. So let me just enter a buy very quickly. I probably won't be able to do most of these examples in a live market because I kind of need to be in profit for some of these. I am right now, but it's probably going to be bouncing up and down. So we just placed a random buy on NAS on the 15 with a 3 take profit, and we're risking $600 roughly. Yeah, we're risking about 580. That is a whole video in itself of why it doesn't specifically risk the exact amount for indices, but like I said, that video is in the future coming out of why it does that. It's strictly for indices. Majority of EAs do that. So anyway, we have 4 smart features here. So we have custom, break even, partial, and TS stands for trailing stop. So starting from the left, we have custom. What custom means is custom close. And so this is the percentage that you want to be able to close out of your trade. And so for example, our trade right now, our lot size is 0.04. So let's say we want to close out 50% of this trade right now. What we'll need to do is come to above the smart features, the smart buttons, and we'll need to select what trade we actually want to close at 50% because it won't know what trade you want to close at unless you specify the specific order number. So as you can see here, I usually just read, you don't have to memorize the entire set of numbers. I just look at the last three numbers because that's usually normally good enough. So we're only in one trade, so it's really easy, but as you can see, the last three numbers are 307. So I'll look in the drop down, select 307, and from there, as you can see here, we have a 0.04 lot size. And what I'll do is whenever I hit custom, it has now closed out half of that. And so I am at a 0.02 lot size now. And if we go all the way to the bottom, just ignore all these. But if I go to the bottom, I have closed out 50% of my 0.04 lot size trade. So I have 0.02, I made 35 bucks of Monopoly money. And now I have the other half of my trade running. Now that we're in profit, actually, this is a lot easier. So next is our break even. Break even and trailing stop are kind of similar in this sense that you have to be careful of what you're actually trading and the numbers that you put. Because for break even and trailing stop, it is in pips. And so for break even, it's at 0 right now. So if I would hit the break even button, it'll put my trade specifically on my entry. But before I go there, the last thing with custom close, anytime you use custom close, you will now get a different order number because now it is a completely different trade since you cut it in half. So as you can tell, we no longer have 307, we have 544. And so make sure after you hit custom that you change your order number to the active trade now because 307 has now closed. This is a brand new trade since we used the custom close button. So moving on to break even, you have to make sure that you account if you're trading for indices for points instead of pips because break even and trailing stop are in pips. So normally if you're trading Forex and you want to be able to just go break even 1 pip above your entry just to cover commissions, all you have to do for Forex is select 1. But for indices, that is not the case because if you select 1, that's basically 0 for indice terms because that's like 0.01 points. So what you'll need to do is if you want to go 1 point in profit break even, then you'll need to use 100. You multiply the points by 100. And so in this case, if I have 544 selected, so whenever I hit break even, you could see now that my stop loss is, it says 100 pips, but that is specifically 1 point above my entry. As you could see here, my price is 11689.7 and now my stop loss is now 11690.7, so it's specifically 1 point above. That's how break even works. If you're doing Forex, it's simply in pips, but if you're doing indices, make sure that you transfer it over to points and you multiply by 100. That is pivotable, guys. So next is the partial take profit button. And what this is the first field indicates the percentage distance between the take profit and the open price to set the partial take profit at. And then the second field is the percentage of profits that you want to take out at. And that might not make quite as much sense, so I'm going to give you a visual example of this. And so let's say we are going for a 2-to-1 trade. And so in this case, I am looking at a Stairmaster alternative way of trading it. And if y'all are interested in seeing this, me and Christy recently did a live stream about this, and you could view it in the live recordings. It was on June 22nd, the Stairmaster analysis. But anywho, let's say you're going for a 1-to-2 take profit. So it obviously hits here, hindsight 2020. Ultimately, we want to go for a 2-to-1. And so we also, at 1%, we want to be able to take out 50% of the trade and let the rest ride to 2%. So if we want to set a 50% partial take profit at 1R, that is 50% of the way to our take profit. And so as you can see here, if we're going for a 1 to 2, but we want to secure at a 1 to 1, that is 50% of the goal that we want to achieve. And so in this case, what we'll do is we'll set our first field to 50 because that is the location where we want to take our partials at. And our second field is how much of the profits we want to take partial of. In this case, we're taking 50% of our total trade. So hopefully that makes sense. The first field is the location from entry to take profit of where you want to take the partial at, and the second field is the amount of partial you want to take of the trade. Last but not least is our trailing stop feature, and since we're in profit right now, I'll actually be able to show this very easily. Let's move our stop loss back down to wherever it was. I don't remember exactly where it was, but let's just say it was here. Let's say your stop loss was here. And so normally you would like to initiate, what you could do is you can initiate your trailing stop loss right away, but in this case we're already in our trade, and that happens a lot. Let's say, for example, let's bring back this one. Let's say we're going for a 1 to 2 and we leave it be, we set and forget, and then we come back later and it hasn't quite hit our 1 to 2, but we could see a lot of momentum forming. And so we're like, hey, I'm pretty confident in this trade. How about I just set a trailing stop now and let it run? And so I'll show you all how to do that in this case. So since we are in profit, what you'll want to do is, first off, let me go over trailing stop because I forgot to do that. The first field for a trailing stop, let me reiterate, kind of like I said for break even, it is in pips. So in this case, 20 would actually be 2,000 and 10 would be 1,000. You have to multiply the points by 100. So we're just going to mark these at 0 for now. That way there's no confusion. But the first field, it indicates the distance at which the trailing stop will start, and well, it will initiate to perform its trailing mechanics. And then the second field is how much of a trailing distance you want to set for the trailing stop. In this case, let's say, what are we up right now? So our price was at 689 and it's at 740. So we have about 50 pips in profit. So what we'll do here, pretending this was our stop loss, if we want to initiate the trailing stop right away, we'll just leave this first field at 0, because if it's at 0, it already passed 0, so it will initiate right away. And let's say we want to start trailing like 25. In this case, we select 25, but we have to remember that we are trading NAS. It's an indice, so we multiply 25 by 100. So we're going to trail by 2,500. And so from here, you make sure you go to your drop down, make sure you're in the trade that you specify, which is 544, which we are, and you hit trailing stop. So now after I hit trailing stop, you can see now that I am trailing about 25 pips behind. Price is about 24 and we're at like 99. So as price goes up, you can see our stop loss inches up. And if it goes down, it stays exactly at its peak that it had trailed to. And so in this case, we're able to see that our trailing stop initiated, which is super cool. I wish it would gap very quickly. I might just sit around just to kind of show y'all. Christy could do her magic editing skills and just fast forward this, but I want y'all to be able to see like how this is able to trail, and we'll actually go on the 1 minute to make this a little clearer. Well, so much for that trailing example. It's almost like they knew that we were trying to give examples of how to use the trailing feature, but it did work. It brought our trail up to 25 points above, and unfortunately it hit us out. But that is how you use the trailing stop feature. And just to give some examples, you can actually overlay multiple buttons at a time, and that a member had brought that up and was wondering if that would be able to be implemented into the new risk calculator, because what they were wondering what they could do is, could I set up, for example, I'll just bring this back up, so let's just pretend this was about our 1R. So what they were wondering is that What if I want to open a trade and then ultimately set a partial at 1-to-1, and then once it hits 1-to-1, it'll take out 50% of the trade, take profit, and then set a trail. And you can easily do that. So like in this example, we have a 50 stop loss. We're going for a 1-to-2, quote unquote, but price hits 1% for us, and then we take out 50%. And from there, what we would do is, knowing that we have a 50 stop loss, we'll come here into our trailing stop. What we do here is in our first field where we implement the location of where we want our trail stop to start, it'd be at 5,000 because it would be 50 points in profit, which would be our 1% because our stop loss is 50. So this is where we would start trailing, and then maybe we'll want to trail it by 1%. So we'll add 5,000 again. So it will literally start trailing once you hit 1%, and it'll go as a break-even stop loss. And from there, what you can do is you can come back on MetaTrader, you can right-click your take profit. Like, I'll just show that as an example. I don't know if we'll be able to get another quick profit, but what you could do here is once you select your trailing stop and you are now trailing, you can come up to your take profit, you right click your take profit, and you can cancel it. As easy as that. And so that was a quick example of that scenario. And then the next scenario that I wanted to go over is something that members have been struggling with. And I'm going to open up Paint and show my Picasso skill abilities. What people have been showing, just long story short, is if in demo or if you're in a personal account, you go to select 1% risk and you're risking way too much, your account size is probably too small. And here is a example of calculating it, and this was recently I found. So this person had a $200 account and they were trying to risk 1%. 1% of 200 is $2. And they were trying to trade NAS, which is an indice, and it is not recommended trading NAS probably until at least $1,000 to $2,000. And this is the reasoning why. So the problem with it is with indices you have a contract size, and their contract size was 100, which is the biggest contract size you can get. I'm just write as CS for contract size. And so what contract size means in this case is that every 1 point move, so in this case, if let's say NAS is at 1100, if it goes to 11,001, so every 1 point move, so every dollar in the NAS market, every movement up, that equals $100. Just as like a little quick reminder. So you can either have 100, a 10, or a 1. Like I know FTMO, the prop firm, has 10, and MFF has a 1 contract size for indices. And normally, if you have a small account, you want to shoot for a broker that either has a 10 or a 1. That's ideal because 100 will not do, and I'll show you why. So in order to calculate this, let's say in an example, we have a 40 stop loss. We're looking to go long. Well, let's just use this trade for example. We're on NAS, we're on the 50-minute. We have a 50 stop loss. But let's say we want to go crazy. And let's say we want to hug this and we want to go for a 22 point stop loss. So in this case, we're looking to do a 22 stop loss. So let's erase here because we're going crazy. So we have a 22 point stop loss, and we're risking 1%, so we're risking $2, and we're looking to make, I don't know, let's just go for 2 reward. So we're looking to make $4. So in order to calculate your risk size, note that the minimum lot size that you can have on an account is a 0.01. That is the smallest you can go on a broker. And so in order to calculate your risk size, what you need to do is you need to divide the amount of money you're risking. So you divide 2 by the number of points in your stop loss. So 2 divided by 22. And what that equates to, let me throw up the calculator really quick. You do 2 divided by 22, and it's 0.09. So in this case, it's 0.09. You use this number and you divide by your contract size. So your contract size in this case is 100. So if we divide this again by 100, it is now a smaller decimal. It's 10 to the fourth. So it's literally this. This would be your lot size. This is not even close to that. So like there, you can't even take this trade. And so what's happening, I have to scroll down a little bit. So what's actually happening is if we reverse this, like if we reverse engineer of we have to have a 0.01 lot size. So let's pretend this number is 0.01. So we're going to go in reverse. So this, pretend this 0.009 is this number. So in order for this to happen, what we need is we need 1 divided by 100. And so if this equals 1, then the money we have to risk is $22 now. And so if that makes sense, because 22 divided by 22, assuming we have our same stop loss number here. So 22 divided by 22 equals 1. 1 divided by 100, our contract size is 0.01, and we have a perfect 0.01 lot, and we're good to go. But we're now risking 22. So 22 divided by 200, multiply that by 100 to get it. We're now risking 11% when we're trying to risk 1%. So this is the problem that we have. If you have a really high contract size, you have to divide your normalized number from your risk and your stop loss by 100. But if you have like an FTMO or MFF or any type of broker that doesn't have 100 contract size, you could divide by 10, and you don't even have to divide. If you have a 1 contract size, you're good to go then. But if you still want to be able to risk $2, what you now have to do is you would literally, so let's get rid of this 2. In order to get this number, we have to have a 2 stop loss. And a 2-point stop loss is impossible for indices. Like you're probably gonna get taken out by the spread alone. And so this is the problem that we have. If you have an FTMO account, then you'd only have to divide by 10. So you would still have a 0.009, which technically rounds up to 0.01. So this would be okay if you're risking 2% with a 22 stop loss, but you can't go higher than a 22 stop loss. If you have an MFF account or any broker with a 1 contract size, you now have a 0.09 lot and you're good to go. You could probably go, let's say, you could probably up to, if you're risking $2, you could probably go up to 88, maybe even 100. You might be able to have 100. I don't really feel like doing the math. But or maybe 200. You're good to go if you have a 1 contract size. But I just want to give you all a quick example of, because a lot of people have been like, a lot of new traders don't understand lot sizes all that well, and that's okay. I mean, I was once there, everybody was once there. But indices is a little different beast because you have to divide by whatever your contract size is, and in order to find that, let me just give you all an example. You'll come to your watch list in MetaTrader. You'll right click NAS, for example. We'll go to specifications, and then right here you'll see contract size, and my contract size for this specific demo that I pulled up is 100. So a little quick math example of how to go about figuring out if the trade that you can do is even valid to risk 1%. And so I just want to go over that really quick. And last but not least, what I'll go over is the default stop loss size input that we have added into the settings for the calculator. And I will go over MT4 and MT5 because there are some slight differences. It's actually better on MT5, but for example, I'm gonna go over MT4 first. Unfortunately, in order to change this field, it is not like here in the magic buttons or whatever you want to call it. You have to exit out of the calculator and re-add it to where the menu prompts back up. And so for default stop loss size right now it's 0. Let's just put it to, we'll double click in here, and instead of 0 we'll just put 15. And so Let's change to a 4x pair because the default stop loss size, just like break even and just like trailing stop, is in pips. So in this case, if you put a 15 on NAS, it would actually be a 0.15 stop loss. So if you want a 15 or a 25 point stop loss on NAS, you'll have to either make it 1500 or 2500. So, but we're just going to use 4x in this example. So now whenever we click sell, it will print 15, or if we go to a buy, it will start at 15 here. We can't really see it all that well. Let's just go to like a 1 minute. Oh, it's easier to see. So it'll vary, but it'll be around what you had asked for. So in this case, it's about like, look, it just popped back up to 15. So it just depends on the volume spike. It is 3:15, so it's 45 minutes until the day closes. So it's a little choppy right now with volume. So, but it will always be 15 whenever you print it in normal trading times. Just the market is a lot slower because it's about to close, and so it's a little weird. But that is how you do it on MT4. You have to actually close out the account, reopen it. Once the menu prompts, change it. But so what's cool about MT5 is that you're actually able to do it on the fly and you don't have to take this off. All you have to do is come to your little graduation hat in MT5, you right click it, and then you select properties of TTF risk calculator. From there, it brings you the little menu prompt, and then in this example, we're just going to use 15 again for our default stop loss size. Enter, hit enter so it saves it, hit OK, and then from here, whenever I click sell, you can see I have a 15 point stop loss. If I go to a buy, I have a 15, I said point, but I meant pip. I have a 15 pip stop loss in there. So a little bit neater in MT5. MT4, it's slightly a little annoying to having to take off the risk calculator itself and re-adding it, but that is how you go about it in MT4 and MT5. And that wraps up everything for the video. If y'all have any questions, obviously ask in strategy support or indicator support at me. I'm JSAV, and I'll be happy to answer any of y'all questions. I believe I cover everything, and take care.